It's been amazing. I don't know how else to say it. It's the coolest thing I have done since music. Maybe you're here because you're interested in checking out what it's like to become a web developer, or you're a super awesome employer, potential employer, and you're wondering, who is this Becky chick? Well, this is my first video in this series about becoming a web developer. I'm super happy that you're here on this journey with me. There are two reasons that I'm doing this. Number one, I want to journal my experience so I can go back and see what I've learned and hopefully give me some inspiration in those moments where things become overwhelmingly tedious. But also, as you could see in the introduction, it's a way for me to add to my portfolio so that you super awesome employers, future employer, can check out who I am and what brought me here on this journey. Okay, so today I'm going to cover 4 topics. First of all, why in the world I've decided I want to become a web developer and why I'm so excited about it. Number 2, what educational path I am taking to get there, to accomplish this awesome goal. Number 3, where I am right this second on my educational path. I've been doing this now hardcore for a week. I've spent 32 hours, and I want to tell you what I've experienced in those first 32 hours, and then we'll wrap it up with what the next steps are on this journey. So when I was 3 years old, don't worry, don't stress, I'm not going to take you through every single age in my life, but this beginning part's kind of important. So when I was 3 years old, my father and my grandfather taught me how to play guitar. And by the age of 5, I had already written my very first song. I know, it's kind of crazy, I guess it's in my blood. The bottom line is that I have been a musician since as far back as I can remember. I played in bands through high school, went to college to be a music conductor, and I was in a really awesome band at that point. And about 3 years into college, we got offered to be signed to an indie label in Chicago. And lo and behold, everything fell apart. So at that point, I found myself not in school and didn't really know what to do with my life. My band had broken up. I was a hot mess. And so I did what a lot of 20-year-olds do. I got into the food and beverage industry, and I started serving, then moved into bartending, then moved into management. This whole time, of course, through my early 20s, I was still playing music. Then at 25, I got really sick and tired of being a server, and I went into sales. It just kind of seemed to make sense. And I found myself as an account executive of the number 1 alternative newspaper in the country. It's called Westward Newspaper. It was in Denver, Colorado. And I spent 5 years there until I was 30 years old, worked my tail off, made a bunch of money. I was making over $100,000 at 30 years old, working a ton, 60 hours a week. I was exhausted. And quite frankly, I was over trying to sell stuff to people that they didn't really want or need. So as crazy as it sounds, at 30 years old, I quit my job. I sold my house in Denver, and I decided I was gonna take a leap of faith and go full time into my music. And then that eventually evolved into touring and playing music professionally in 7 countries. It was an amazing experience, one that I will always treasure. But the truth is, it's a grind. It's hard. Not only was I a full-time musician, singer-songwriter, writing music, recording, producing my own stuff. So that meant not only writing music and performing, but I had to learn a ton of technology and apply those skills to create really great sound recordings so that people would actually buy them. But I was also producing and hosting a show called Ladies in Music, which was broadcast in 3 different countries. So I was writing and performing and producing that show, as well as selling advertising on that show so that I could live, I could subsist on money from that, as well as performing. And of course, still serving and bartending, yes, even overseas. So as I'm out doing all of this stuff, one day I woke up and I realized, man, if I have to perform and sing me and Bobby McGee one more time to one more crowd, I am going to lose my mind. So it was a tough decision. That was a major shift happening in my life. So in my late 30s, I decided to move back to the US, and I spent the next couple of years, honestly, meditating, doing yoga, again, back in the food service industry, doing some bartending, general managing, just trying to figure out what do I want to do with this next phase in my life since I had walked away from basically a lifelong career. It was at that point that I met the love of my life, and thank goodness she loved me and she married me. And so at 40 years old, I got married, and over the course of a couple of years, I was still trying to figure out what do I want to be when I grow up. I know that's weird to say, right? But I also know I'm not the only person on the planet at 40 years old trying to figure that out. And went back to finish up my bachelor's degree in climate progress, climate change, because that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. Well, this set me up on one of the coolest new trajectories of my life. I had this well-rounded business knowledge and a passion for climate. And so I created my own company called Climate Innovations Consulting Group. What I do is bring renewable energy and energy efficiency to huge commercial buildings and commercial projects. These are multi-million-dollar projects. So it's great in terms of impact. It's a way to significantly reduce CO2 into the atmosphere. But the bottom line is I kind of always knew that this wasn't going to be my forever company. I had already planned an exit, and I'm now in that process of exiting that company. I've taken some time to think, okay, I have a sense. I know for certain I want to continue to be creative. I know for sure I want to continue with analysis. And so I've been researching around those topics. I've always been interested in technology, but I don't have a background necessarily. I have a background in audio and video technology, but certainly not like coding. So I started researching, and that's when I discovered the coolest video I saw was this woman who is a viola player. And because of COVID, obviously they're not outperforming. And so she really wanted to find another career path where she could use her creativity and her ability to do analysis and her ability to really focus in on detail and yet be able to wrap it all up and be creative, in the final product and process. Doing front-end development is almost exactly to me like being a songwriter. I'm going to put together a whole video about that down the road. So in any case, it was an aha moment of waking up and going, holy cow, finally at my age, I know what I want to do, and I know I can combine all these skills together to make it happen. So here I am now. I decided, okay, I want to be a front-end web developer. What do I do? How do I do this? And how do I get on the right educational track? Okay, I think I'm going to make an entire video separate from this about the path that I took to figure out the right path to take in terms of my education. I'm not going to do that in this video. Instead, what I'm going to tell you is there are a veritable plethora of options and opportunities to get the education that you want and need to become a web developer. What I'll tell you is I ultimately decided to go with the pro version of Codecademy. No, I'm not sponsored by them yet, but it is an amazing program. They set up an entire career path. It's a front-end engineering path, and you get 7 days. You get a trial, free trial for 7 days. And then after that, it's about $40. I think it's $39 per month to do the program. Now, I'm doing this in a variety of ways. First, I dove in almost full time, and now I'm going to be kind of doing it part-time. So I imagine it's probably going to take me about 6 months total to get through the program. It's an awesome path to take. I suggest checking it out. I'll put the link in the description so that you can go see. Just so you know, you can start out by taking free classes on Codecademy. You can take the exact classes, in fact, that I'm going to be taking. It's just that the career path that I'm on and paying $40 a month will give me a certificate that LinkedIn identifies as a professional certification for front-end engineering. So for me, I made that choice. It's up to you, whatever you choose to do. I just say, get out there and do it. After 32 hours, yep, I did 32 hours in 4 days. I'm so excited. I got all the way through HTML and am now about an eighth of the way through CSS. So for those of you who are brand new to web development, I'll tell you right now, pretty much everyone across the board, whether you're watching videos on YouTube or reading blogs on Google or whatever you're doing about learning about web development, particularly for front-end development, they are all going to say, here are the 3 languages you need. You need HTML, you need CSS, and you need JavaScript. Probably would also be good to include React and get to know GitHub. So all of those things are included along this career path. In terms of my experience of this last week, it's been amazing. I don't know how else to say it. It's the coolest thing I have done since music. Seriously, since music. HTML can get tedious. I'll be really honest. It can be tedious. But once you start learning the language, once I really started getting my brain around how and when and why to use certain types of language, it was like I was having these, oh, that clicked moments. So just hang in there, get through it, and you'll be great. CSS is proving to be much easier, which is funny because I've heard several people say that CSS is harder. For some reason, it's coming to me more easily. It could be because HTML gave me such a great foundation. But I love now, even within just a little bit of time of playing with CSS, I'm able now to work between the 2 languages and watch them ping off of each other to create both structure for the content and then to make it pretty. And that's been really, really cool. Okay, so last part, what are the next steps? The next steps I'm super stoked about. Now, I have months ahead of me, but my immediate next steps are to get through CSS. I assume by next week, when I send out this next video, I probably won't be done. I'm giving as much as I can, probably 3 to 5 hours every single day, and then on my days off, many more hours than that. So next week, I'll definitely fill you in on where I am, but my very next steps are gonna be just to continue with CSS, continue that beautification portion of combining CSS with HTML. Already learned HTML, guys. You can do it. I promise you can do it. It's not that hard. Just try it, set your mind to it. And I believe in you. I know you can do it. And I gotta tell you, I'm so excited. I wake up every day excited to code. I know that sounds nuts, right? I'm a big dork. So I love it, and that's it from me. I hope you have a great day, and I'm excited and look forward to sharing more about my journey with you next week.